Yo, peace and love. Hey, the last video I dropped, I spoke on why I continue to stay in bike life when knowing the risks that's involved, and you might not get the same love that you dishing out in return. Well, if you haven't seen that video, you can check the link in the description. It should be there, or click one of these tabs in the left or right hand corner of this video to check that one out. But to move on, after I had that conversation with myself, another question came to mind. What was some of the golden years of bike life for me? And the first thing that came to my mind was Miami, 2015. To me, matter of fact, before I get there, I'm going to tell you why 2015, Miami, MLK was the golden years for me. A lot happened where it was unexpected. I believe that was actually the second MLK ride out in Miami. The first one I missed. Now that one I went down with two individuals that I looked up to at the time and still do, as big brothers, and also as good people in the culture, like putting the culture for the right morals and ethics that it had back then. They stood by that, so I was happy to go down there with them. Also, just to be down there and see everybody you only seen on social media, and to see them down there at that one time, and experience the love that was being given was something that can never be duplicated. That was a vibe that stood out amongst all the ride outs I ever been to. That was the golden years for me. I'm gonna break it down to you how the golden years for me happened though. My man Prince hit me up. It was like, Biz, we need to get some, make a movie for this Miami trip. And at the time, I kind of knew what was going on because of certain people talking behind the scenes, because it was never on social media. Back then, you would never see a post about any ride out being happening. Everything was still happening discreet behind scenes through text messages, through phone calls, through word of mouth. I don't even think they had DMs back then on Instagram, so it was a different vibe. So when I got the call, I'm like, yeah, let me make this happen. Let me make this happen. And it was like about to snow that weekend. I had to figure out how I was gonna make it work with the family, but that was a whole issue too. Me going down there, like nobody understood the reason why I felt I had to go. But I get in the car with Prince. Prince drove probably. Prince probably drove an hour, and him and Mike Miles in the front ended up driving from DC all the way to MLK one trip. And at that point, I was like, all right, they gained another trust for me because they realizing that I'm the camera guy, but I add more value to just recording. I can be around. It was like I was in a stage of trying to like just find my way inside the culture, inside of a small group of people, so I can just basically capture the culture in a way that hasn't been captured before. All right. So that trip alone was dope. When we get down there, we really didn't even know, for real, on where we wasn't even gonna stay at. It was a trip like, all right, we get down there, we'll figure it out when we get down. And to me, that was my first time doing something like that. I thought that was dope, for real, because it just showed the passion of what all of us had for just wanting to ride a bike and just link up with different individuals who came from all over the world just to ride bikes in a city that you barely even know people. We gets down there trying to find parking. We end up A Butter ended up pulling up to one of the parking lots we was at. You don't know what A Butter is, man. A Butter is a legendary videographer in this culture. To me, I look at his work as always very artistic, very smooth, clean. It's artsy. And I always looked up to that because I watch his work and you just fall in love with the project. Put you in a place of just falling in love with the culture. You barely hear any words. You're just watching the essence of what's going on, from clean shots to slow-mo to just a vibe. And then, to this day, he has a look that I still haven't seen anyone else do, because he had his own unique style. A Butter, Adama Films, immaculate, man. You gotta show us. You gotta check his work out. If you haven't seen any of his old work, you haven't posted in a while. Things, family and stuff happen. You gotta take care of things, and he has a different mental level of understanding life. So I completely understand why he moving the way he moved. Peace and love to you, A Butter. You're my guy. Still want to see some of your vids, man. Them Jones is fire, bro. Fire. But yeah, he pulled up. And even to see him, I'm like, yo, this boy tall as me. And just to see him in person was like, yo, this is the man behind the camera. But we had some good conversation between Mike, Prince, A Butter, myself, and we still trying to figure out like where to actually go during this time. Ended up finding a good hotel, man. The hotel wasn't so it wasn't too pleasant. It wasn't too pleasant, but I enjoyed it because again, it was a time where you making away with your friends, just trying to create. And during that time, a lot of dope things happened. We had to run into One Way Mark, One Way Corey during the time. The One Way Corey was still young on the pedal bikes. And this is where a lot of relationships had really started to form. From B Mazy, this is when Frida Peeps was actually Armor Energy at the time. Two Stroke Prince, Mike Miles, myself. Nikki was there too, 215 Nikki, and a couple other people from Philly, right? One thing I noticed when we got there, Prince and Mike needed some stuff done for their bikes, and they made a couple phone calls. And these phone calls was made. People in Miami came out, snapped a finger, just came out to make sure that it was good. And as I was watching that, I'm like, yo, y'all really like family. We're really like brothers out here on a whole different vibe from different areas. Like, cause we drove down like 20-something hours, y'all showing us a certain type of love. I'm like, yo, this is dope. And then people I'm seeing, I only saw them on social media and on YouTube. So to see them in person, it was like stars. And to know that they was like showing the love the same way that we were showing love to them, it meant a lot. It meant a lot. It was that 2015 Rideout was a huge build up, man. Oh, wait. I can't leave out too. During that time frame, I met up with Jay Nasty there too. Well, Fresh Powder, Jay Nasty, Third Eye Visions, the original name, Third Eye Visions, with the videos back then. I met him there, but I already met him prior, before I even had a camera in my hand, like maybe like 2 years prior, in Chester. So it was dope to see him too. But the build up from that whole day was just, it had me ready. It had me ready to really see what this day was going to be, how this ride out was going to turn out. I didn't know how many bikes to expect. I just knew that this is one of my first times that I'm actually going to be in the pack. That they got me out here. I'm going to be riding on one of their bikes for real. They got to drive me around. So whatever happens today, it's going to be lit. We finally get out, and just seeing people like Miami Skeet down there, Roscoe, Jabo, and I'm like, yo, it's about to be a crazy weekend. Because it's just starting. This is only Friday. But then as I'm seeing them, I'm seeing new people pop up, people from Baltimore, people from New York. I'm like, hey, this really about to be an Allstar Weekend. I don't think this city know what's about to happen. But when it happened, it was game changing. One of the things that stood out the most when we first finally met up was the infamous gas station. When we got to the gas station, this is when Sig took this crazy picture on top of the gas station. And it's when you see a lot of people that's not here no more. They were there, like KT and Pete. I remember talking to him, seeing Prince pull up, seeing everybody from Baltimore there. It was one of them vibes where, again, you cannot emulate. Because again, remember, social media was just starting to form in a way of connecting each of the cities together. It just started getting to that point of, it was on a rise, big time. So you finally see all those people in person, you kind of want to see how they move too. Like, you want to see what they can do in real life, opposed to just watching it on the screen. And it was like everybody was in their bag, like everybody. This was in a time where you can look at a ride out right now and look at video footage. You'll see most people flat riding, right? Maybe in the front you might got a couple. Sometimes the newer ride outs you might see one or two or three. This particular ride out, I would say the front half of the pack, damn near everybody for real, was willing. Because it was like, yo, this is the first time I get to show off in front of everybody. I can basically showcase what I can do in person. I ain't got to be recording. You can actually see what I can do right now. So everybody was on 10. But it wasn't in a way of like, oh, I'm going to burn you up. It was in a place like, yo, I'm loving this energy. I'm going to show off. I want to see what you can do too. Do your thing. Smiles everywhere. We had a couple issues. Not issues, I would say, but a couple unspoken battles, I would say. But That's another day, another story for that. I mean, this is when I first met Sig too. Say Sig in person, because mind you, this is the first time that Miami got took over like this. So it made the news channels like crazy. A lot of people didn't know, well, the task force back then didn't know what to do because there was so many bikes. I can't even count how many bikes it was. Back then, this was the time frame you would have people driving down on track with tractor trailers with all the bikes on there, like openly. You do that now, they're going to pull that truck over and take every bike before they even hit Miami. Back then, it was like everybody was doing what they wanted to do. I mean, it was an experience. Those were the golden years. If I can go back to that time, I would film more. If I could do anything, I would film everything. But I say all this to say, as you guys take these trips, try to create memories throughout all this. Have fun with each other. Have fun with your friends. Create different bonds. Create different friendships. Because if you look around, some of the guys around you may not be here on the next ride out, or the next year, or the next day. Some of them may not make it back home that same day. So you have to remember to have fun and embrace the good times with your peoples, because the life we chose and the things that we do, things can turn in the blink of an eye. So on these next trips, enjoy, have fun, be mindful, make conscious decisions. Remember the goal is to get back home at the end of the day, not cause too much issues, because what you do not only affects you, it affects everybody around you. Until next time, peace and love.